My name is Lisa Craig, this is my persuasive speech, and this is my audience. For a moment, will everyone please close their eyes and imagine this story. You are sitting in a hospital waiting room, anxious to hear what the doctor has to say about your loved one who has just been in a horrific accident. He walks in the room and says to you, "I'm sorry, but I don't think she's going to make it. We don't have the donation of the kidney that she needs." Now open your eyes. That sentence is a sentence that many people have had to hear their doctors say, and would have to be one of the hardest. Today, I'm going to tell you what organ donation is and how you can help save a life. Organ donation is when someone decides that they would like to donate their organs or tissues to someone who needs them due to an injury or an accident. Being an organ donor means you can save up to 8 lives. In just the past year, more than 28,000 transplants were made possible. Unfortunately, thousands die every year waiting for a donor that never comes, and more than 119,000 people are currently waiting for an organ transplant. There are many different organs that one can donate, and those are your heart, liver, kidneys, lungs, pancreas, and intestines. You can also donate certain tissues, and those are your cornea, your skin, heart valves, and your tendons. There are many steps involving the process of organ donation, but only one of those steps is something that you have to do, and that is enrolling in your state's donor registry. There are many ways to sign up to be an organ donor, and is mostly done while you're obtaining or renewing your driver's license, or simply by going online and registering. After you register, you are put on a list of being a potential organ donor. When a potential organ donor is admitted to the hospital due to an illness or an accident, doctors then begin to test for brain death to check if there is any possible way to save the potential donor's life. If they have absolutely no chance of survival, the hospital then alerts the OPO, which stands for Organ Procurement Organization, to check and see if the person who has died or is nearing death at the hospital is a potential candidate for donation. If the person is a candidate, the OPO representative proceeds to travel to the hospital where the deceased person is located. When the OPO checks to see if the now deceased person is an organ donor and they do not have a legal consent for donation, the OPO will then look for consent from their children. After the OPO has checked to see if the deceased person is in fact a potential donor, they then contact the OPTN, which stands for Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network, and then they begin to search for a matching donor recipient. While the OPTN is searching for a donor recipient, the donor is maintained on an artificial support, and the organs are carefully monitored by the hospital staff and the OPO. Once the OPTN has found a donor recipient that matches the donor, the OPO then arranges the arrival and departure times of the transplant surgical teams. After the surgical team arrives, the donor is taken into the operating room, where the organs and tissues are recovered just like any other surgery. In an organ donation, time is of the essence. After the organs are removed from the donor and are sterile, the organs are transferred to the hospital, where the recipient is usually already waiting in the operating room for their new organs. Surgical teams work around the clock to transplant the new organs into organ recipients. There are many myths when it comes to organ donations. One of those is that you have to be under a certain age to have your organs used. This statement is not true at all. In fact, your age doesn't make you ineligible to sign up, nor do you have to be in perfect health. Being able to donate all depends on your time of death. 2,250 deceased donors were actually between the ages of 50 and 64 in 2012, and 574 were over the age of 65. Another myth is that you have to be deceased in order to donate, but more than 6,000 living donations occur each year. If you are a living donor, you can donate a kidney, part of a liver, a lung, intestine, blood, or bone marrow. Also, it is believed that you have to be related to the donor recipient in order to donate, but in reality, 1 in 4 donors are not biologically related to the recipient. The donor and recipient just have to be a match. Some random facts about organ donations are as follows. Every 12 minutes, another name is added to the National Transplant Waiting List. On average, 18 people die every day from the lack of available organs. 7% of people on that waiting list, which is 6,500 each year, die before they are able to receive a transplant. To date, 461,776 transplants have occurred in just the U.S. since 1988. about 45% of people are now enrolled in the donor registry nationwide. All major religions support organ donation. If you are a donor, your family does not need to pay any bills related to the donation. And the success rate for organ transplantations is between 80 and 90. Here are some graphs that I found about organ transplantation. Red is deceased and blue is living. This is the number of deceased organs that have been donated in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. And the blue is organ donations that occurred when they were living. Down here, in 2012, there were 22,187 donations that occurred in that year. And all these down here are the type of donations that occurred, and this is the number of the donations. And here is a graph about the waiting list and how it increases every year. Right at 2009, there was more than 100,000 people on the national waiting list just in 2009. There are so many stories out there about organ donation and how they change people's life. Here's a story about a young 17-year-old girl named Jessie Ann. She was a perfectly healthy young girl who loved to play soccer and hanging out with friends, when suddenly she became very ill. She went to the doctor and found out that she was diagnosed with a type of heart disease and was put on a heart transplant list. 3 days later, she got the call and heard the best news of her life. There was a donor for her. Jessie Ann is now a healthy 25-year-old lady who lives every day thankful for the man who gave her his heart. Now that you've heard what organ donation is, the process, and some facts, I would just like to leave you with this message. You have the chance to make a difference. You are able to give someone new life. So take that opportunity. Make someone's life better and give them the chance to continue living. Doctors aren't just going to take parts of you because they want to. They take them because someone needs them. There are parts that you don't need anymore. Give them to someone to give them the chance to live. Think, why not me? Why not now? So register to become an organ donor and make a difference. Save a life. Thank you.